I'm at the National MS Society Walk MS charity event in Long Beach, and I asked people, what were your first symptoms of MS?
Optic neuritis, where I was going blind in one eye.
I couldn't even get it.
And what were your symptoms like?
Yeah.
It was hard to see out of my dominant right eye. My eye doctor said go to the ER, and the next thing I know, I can't leave the hospital.
My first symptoms were numbness and tingling in my feet and my legs, and nobody knew what it was. I just had a flu shot, so they chalked it up to a reaction to the flu shot. Then a couple of years later, my vision started to go black. So after that, then they started checking further, and I had an MRI, a spinal tap, and they decided it was MS. That was 1997.
Wow, a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I had double vision that lasted about 3 months, and I went to 3 different doctors, and they couldn't figure out what it was. I didn't find out till 14 years later that I had MS.
Wow.
My first symptoms of MS were walking as if I was drunk. My aunt actually was the one who initially first caught it. She asked me as I was on my way to university at 10 in the morning, she said, "Are you drunk?" And I said, "I'm not drunk, it's 10 in the morning." Turns out she sent me to the hospital pretty soon after that, and January 29th of 2018, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
My first symptoms of MS were there was a numbing, tingling pain on my side, my left abdomen area, and it wouldn't go away. There was one point where it was really severe. Anything that touched it, it was just unbearable. Still feel it to this day. They sent me to multiple doctors. They sent me to dermatologists. They sent me to my primary. No one could figure it out until they sent me to a neurologist. And he sent me in for a few MRIs. He's great, Dr. Neil Mannering. And he was the one who found the lesions, a couple lesions of mine. So that's how I was diagnosed.
My first symptom is I went totally blind in my left eye. And I went to the eye doctor, and he said, "I think you need to see a neurologist." I had a sister who was diagnosed with MS a couple years before, and I went, "Uh-oh, what is it?" He said, "Optic neuritis." And I said, "MS?" He goes, "Looks like you better get an MRI." So I went to the neurologist, and sure enough, and at this point, shortly thereafter, my fingers are going numb and my feet are tingling. So they did the Solumedrol and the prednisone. I had such a hard time getting off the medicine that every time they tried to wean me off, I would have another exacerbation. And finally, my doctor, after 3 months, I was in a wheelchair, and I just said, I can't do the Solumedrol thing anymore. I had the prednisone puff going, and it looked terrible. And I just kind of gave it to God at that point and said, "Help me." So it's been a long time because I've been in a facility. I was diagnosed in '96, moved into this facility in 2012, and I am just, as of 2021, I was walking like 100 feet with a walker before I had to sit down and rest, and then I could go again. But I came back all that way, and it's possible with the power of your mind and God and therapy. It's all in the way you deal with it. Keep a good attitude, and you'll get through. You'll be okay.
My first symptoms of MS was I was very sensitive to the heat. I was really young with that. I used to get migraines. People made fun of me because I was clumsy all the time. And as I grew older, the symptoms got worse to the point where I was falling and dropping things. I had my first exacerbation. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't use my hands. And by the time I was 40, they put me on permanent disability.
My walking balance was unsteady, and my mom has MS, so she asked me to go to neurologist. So I went and I had an MRI done, and that's when they said, yeah, you have it.
Tingling, feeling, tripping, dropping things.